Americans say that new numbers showing up today that they're fed up and believe the country is moving in the wrong direction. Take a look at this recent average of national polls from Real Clear Politics today. Almost 60% of voters say we are on the wrong track. You can check it out, compared to only 34% who say we're actually moving in the right direction. Why is there such a huge gap? You can see it's been widening and widening over the months there. Let's bring in our political panel. Chris Wilson is a GOP pollster and a strategist. Bernard Whitman is a former pollster for President Bill Clinton. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
All right, Chris, is this just about health care or something much bigger?
It's about much bigger, and I think it's really not that surprising. When you look, since Obama's taken over, all he's managed to do is skyrocket the debt, massively expand the role of government. He's taken health care and passed a bill that the polls show the majority of Americans don't want. I think, frankly, it's surprising it's not even worse in terms of the direction of the country. And from that standpoint, I think we're going to see it get worse as we get closer to Election Day.
All right, Bernard, I'm guessing that's not your take on these numbers.
No, in fact, if you look at over the past year, we've been about at this same level for almost a year with the exception of 2 months. And the issue is far beyond health care. I do agree with Chris. It's about the economy. It's about jobs. It's about people worried about their financial future. But there is some bright news on the horizon. The jobs numbers from today show positive growth. We added 162,000 jobs in March, which is the first time in over 2 years that we've actually added jobs rather than lost jobs. Obama just signed an $18 billion jobs bill. The Dow is closing in on 11,000. The House passed the small business bill, and it's gaining steam in the Senate. That's going to cut capital gains taxes for small businesses. So I think that while clearly Americans are worried that it's going to get worse before it gets better, there are a number of encouraging signs out there.
All right, Chris, apparently 60% of the American people aren't yet taking hold of those encouraging signs. They're not seeing them. At 60%, some people will say these are angry Republicans, people who would never say anything nice about the administration or where the country's going because they wouldn't want to credit the president with anything. But not 60% of Americans would identify themselves as Republicans. So who else is in this group?
Well, it's a lot of independents, and I think what you have here is you have the majority of Americans moving over to recognizing that, to Bernard's point about unemployment numbers the employment numbers going up, it's all government jobs. It's jobs that are being created through a stimulus package and putting people on the government payroll. That's not why people voted for Barack Obama, and it's the challenge for people like us in middle America is that Barack Obama is kind of the perfect liberal. He passes policies or pushes policies that people in New York or San Francisco love, and he jets around the world to meet with international leaders, while those of us in middle America are really hurting. And that's not just Republicans. It's Democrats, it's independents in middle America, and that's where those numbers are coming up. And I'll tell you, I'm seeing congressional districts, statewide surveys, where you're seeing those wrong track numbers being up in the 80s and 90 percentile range, again, in middle America. And from that standpoint, it's going to be a huge backlash on the Democrats on Election Day.
And Bernard, let me ask you about that, because there's so many different issues. We know that they're going to have to address health care, which Democrats say by then people will understand better. It will be a positive rallying point in campaigns in the fall for Democrats, although Republicans express a lot of skepticism about that happening. But people are worried about other things, about illegal immigration, about government control. They distrust their government. They don't like incumbents regardless of which party they're coming from. So how do Democrats capitalize on that and use it in the fall?
The most important thing that the Democrats have got to focus on is jobs, 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 which is why we've got to pass this small business job creation bill. It's why I think we need to explain to the American people the true benefits of health care reform. But most importantly, we need to have movement in the Congress, both on jobs and on financial reform regulation. I think ultimately, if we can communicate clearly to the American people the benefits of lower drug prices and the lack of people being kicked out of their health insurance for being sick or having pre-existing conditions, if we can actually get some of these jobs bills passed, start putting people back to work. And I'll tell you, Chris, cutting Social Security taxes for employers, that is not putting people on the government payroll. That is helping small businesses where they need it most, giving tax credits to small businesses to help them pay for health care, unleashing entrepreneurship for people who have been stuck in dead-end jobs because they're afraid to lose and move because they're afraid to lose their health insurance. These are job creation bills, and I think by fall the American people are going to understand that, and we'll be able to do just fine in the midterm elections.
And Chris, it's clear right now from the polling they don't get that. Why not?
Well, they don't, because to respond to Bernard's point, you had all these jobs created, supposedly, yet unemployment's still at 9.7%. And that's real unemployment. What about functional unemployment, which shows it's up in the mid-teen level, because that's people who are either moving around, giving up looking for a job, or taking a job in which they're underemployed. So, yes, jobs are being created, yet unemployment stays the same, and that's because these are government jobs. And we're not seeing, I would agree 100% with Bernard's point, if we had a situation where anything the Obama administration was doing was creating private sector jobs or putting money back in the pockets of real middle-class Americans, then you wouldn't see the kind of numbers you do right now. And to a point earlier about Obama's policies, the people they favor, is what you're going to have is a lot of people standing around at cocktail parties on the day after Election Day saying, wow, I can't believe this Republican wave swept America. Nobody I know voted for them. And what you're going to see is a completely different House and Senate come Election Day.
All right, gentlemen, we got to leave it there. Thank you both for a spirited and fair debate. Chris Wilson and Bernard Whitman, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.